In this video, we're going to be taking a look at Princess Leia Organa in her Yavin ceremonial outfit at the end of A New Hope for the Vintage Collection. Personally, I think this is a fantastic Leia and probably one of the best ones that has been released in the TVC line. There's not a whole lot you can really do with it. It's mostly a traffic cone, but from an aesthetic standpoint and from a perspective of using her for dioramas, I think it's a perfect action figure. So she is an update of the Black Series 3 3/4 inch ceremonial Leia. There are some significant differences with this. It's a new head sculpt, and I think they did new forearms for her. Interesting fact about that action figure is I think that was the only brand new original trilogy action figure that Hasbro did for the Black Series 3 3/4 inch line for the red and black packaging that was released between 2015 and 18. Everything else that was brand new was for the sequel trilogy, and anything that was prequel trilogy or original trilogy related were all just straight repacks. This was, interestingly enough, the only brand new action figure we got. But she does deserve her place in the TVC line, and I'm glad Hasbro did end up getting her out. So she was VC 150 officially, but the initial cases of this action figure and the initial batch of it was labeled as VC 164, as I recall. So if you have a VC 164 variant on the card, that one is a little bit rarer. I found this action figure at Walmart around the time of her release, and she was labeled as VC 150. I don't think I have ever seen the 164 in the wild, but it would be interesting to track what the price of that one goes for these days. I'm not too sure. But anyways, let's just take a closer look at this figure. So the head sculpt, I think, is perfect. Looks pretty close to Carrie Fisher. That little bit of black under her eye, that's actually just a little bit of paint that happens to be there. But of all the paint mishaps that I've had on an action figure, it's really not that bad of a one. It kind of adds to her a little bit, like it's the end of like her eyeliner or something like that. So it's never really bothered me. This was the only time I ever saw this action figure in the wild too. The photoreal face turned out nice. Paint apps are nice. The hair looks good. I think it's two separate parts for the hair, so the base of her hair here is just part of her head, but then this extra bun and braid back here are a separate piece, which look really good. As for the rest of the action figure, it's very nice. It's just an all-white dress, which is the dress itself is entirely in plastic. She does have the silver belt there. And then they included a soft goods robe with her, basically, which is a very thin material. You can see all the way through it. It does have a nice flow. Looks really good. She does have that necklace there. But everything's pretty much a combination of white and gray, and that's it. As for the lower part of her dress here, there's no cuts or anything to where you can articulate your legs at all. So, as I mentioned, she is just a traffic cone. But she does have these gray high-heeled shoes on. Her feet sit really close together. I've never really had too much of a problem trying to get her to stand. Suppose if she's on an unstable surface, she would have a hard time, or it would not take much to knock her off if you hit a shelf or something like that. But for the most part, she's been relatively stable. In terms of her articulation, she does have a ball joint in the neck, hinged shoulders, yeah, then hinged elbows. Now, no wrist articulation, which is kind of unfortunate for this action figure because it makes it very hard for her to hold her one accessory. I think on the Black Series version she did have wrist or forearm articulation, but for whatever reason they took it away for this. Maybe it's because of the aesthetic to it, which I can kind of understand that. It allows for the extra detail in the arms to look a little more realistic. That is what it is. And she does have a swivel waist there, just above the belt, and that's it. So pretty light articulation in terms of TBC action figures, and quite frankly, she doesn't need much articulation anyway, but I would have liked to see at least a swivel wrist or forearms on her. And for one accessory, it's just a medal. Which is pretty much the same exact one that comes with the ceremonial Luke here. Yeah. The silver is, or not the silver, but the gold color is a little bit different. It's a little more darker in color on this one. And she can hold it with both hands, as you could see at the beginning of the video, but it is very difficult because she does not have that wrist articulation at all. Something like that. It looks all right. But that's pretty much all I can tell you about this Leia here. We'll bring out the ceremonial Luke again, see how they look side by side. And we'll just bring out Han Solo here. Do not have a Chewbacca at the time of this video, which I do hope to get A New Hope one whenever that gets released. I have had Chewbacca action figures over the years, but I never thought Hasbro did that good of a job with him. So I've just held off on adding one till they finally get it right, hopefully here soon. But would I recommend this ceremonial Leia for your collection? I would if you're a big fan of Princess Leia. It's a fantastic action figure for what it is. And there's not a whole lot I can really say about it. You either really want this for your collection or you don't. But it's a good action figure for what it is. Is it the most essential Leia to own? Probably not. But it is one that's nice to have in the TBC line. It's from the original trilogy. An important scene. I'm glad it's a part of my collection. But anyways, that concludes this review. I hope you enjoyed it. Stay tuned for plenty more reviews in the future. There will always be more to come. If you haven't already, please like the video and subscribe to the channel. I always appreciate all your support. And check out some links in the description if you haven't done so already. Of course, as always, thanks for watching.